Hugh Freeze is turning up the pressure during fall camp. And is Auburn trying to be like Georgia Tech?
This is the Weekend Tailgate. Brought to you by Golden's Cast Iron. C-Dub. Joe. Be Will. By G. You are now listening to
Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights and code TWR for $65 off. Fire Pits and Kamado Grills. Workout, grill out, chill out with Golden's Cast Iron. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORTER to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever else in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Also want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. Get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault. Guys, join as a member. We appreciate all our members for helping us grow our Green Name gang. $5.99 a month will get you there. Your financial support helps keep us going here at the War Report. You can also give the gift of the War Report by hitting that gifted membership button. We appreciate all our members for doing this. We've been doing a great job lately. Let's see if we can give 20 given away here on today's show. Check us out on podcasts, all the podcast platforms. We are there with the Auburn Uptempo College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming channel, giving you guys lots of great content here from YouTube and audio-only content, stuff we reserve strictly for podcasts. So we appreciate you guys for supporting us over there. We've been doing great, making the podcast numbers go up. So please continue to support us there, guys. That's it for now. Let's start the show.
All right. Well, we are here talking a little bit of Auburn football. Of course, getting close to being that time. Not close enough because people are still out here with wild conversation about a lot of things. Before we get into what I consider to be a thing that's controversial around Auburn football in terms of where they are in the national landscape, let's talk about something controversial for Auburn football in terms of a visor being thrown down during the practice session. Coach Hugh Freeze seen videotaped during fall camp, visibly, verbally upset at his quarterback Jackson Arnold on a play in which Jackson Arnold did not even make a pass. Receivers out in the formation, and Jackson Arnold just doesn't make the throw. And Coach Hugh Freeze throws his visor down, screaming, yelling at him, and people went crazy all over social media. First and foremost, guys, you've seen this clip, correct?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Because I actually wrote an article about this on our website. If you guys want to go check it out, warreport.com. I already gave my thoughts over there. I will continue those thoughts today. But what are your thoughts about the clip of Coach Hugh Freeze going off on Jackson Arnold there? Anybody? Right. I don't care who wants to jump in.
Well, first and foremost, people acting like, for the people who are worried about the reaction, we saw this from time to time with Peyton Thorne on the sidelines. This is who he is. He's going to lose it on his quarterbacks from time to time. He's going to coach them hard, and he's going to get after them when they don't do the right things. In terms of him not delivering the football, what is not said is if it is a common occurrence. Was it just the one play where he got upset? Jackson Arnold is not the first quarterback in the history of college football to not throw the ball to an open receiver when they were open. So if perfection is what you're expecting from Jackson Arnold, you're going to be disappointed. I don't think that I expected him to be perfect. I do expect him to be better than he was at Oklahoma and better overall as a quarterback. And all reports are he has gotten better. How much better? Well, that's why you go out and you stack the deck around him. That's why you give him a running game and you give him all these top flight receivers. So I don't think this is time to panic. Like, I understand Oklahoma fans are going to jump in. And you know what?
That's been the biggest reaction. Let's be clear. Auburn fans, there are some mixed, muddled reactions of Auburn fans being like, what's going on? Oklahoma fans have been the one dogpiling on this, saying, we told you guys, Jackson Arnold holds on to the ball too long. This is what you can grow to expect from them. Be remiss if I didn't pause because it's in the chat often. Happy birthday, Mike G. It is his birthday today, so everybody make sure you wish him a happy birthday. But continue, because Oklahoma fans are the ones that have been going the most ballistic about this on social media.
Yeah, I would say this. You know what it feels like? It feels like, remember when Gus went to UCF and we all tried to tell UCF fans, like, it's when just because you think the bar is lower at UCF doesn't mean that he won't go lower than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right? Because that's what he did. He does. He consistently went lower than the talent that he had. And it feels like Oklahoma, this is a gotcha moment for Oklahoma fans. Kind of like that breakup conversation where you tell the girl, it's not you. It's not me. It's you. Right? They want to believe that it was not them. It was Jackson Arnold.
I love those conversations. I love those conversations. It's not me.
It was you. You had the messed up O-line. You had every single wide receiver get hurt. You fired your offensive coordinator midseason. And then you got mad at Jackson Arnold because he couldn't save you from all that. This overreaction to this one throw, man. Like, quarterbacks miss throws in practice. Now, if he had come out and said, you know what? I freaked out because he's been doing this shit all fall camp. Right? Then maybe I'm joining the freak out train.
Yeah, I mean, even if he's done it more than one time, here's what I would say in regard to it is that I think it's an indication that Hugh Freeze is like, one time is too many. Like, we're going to get this right as many times as we physically can. Excellent. And every single time you mess up, I'm going to make a big deal about it because it should have been a touchdown. Yeah. Let's get it right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this guy is new to Auburn. He's new to this offense. He's learning this offense. And he's probably going to have moments where the head coach is going to have to coach him up. He's going to have moments during fall camp where the coach may be disappointed and frustrated. I think that's normal for a new guy who hasn't been at this program maybe with just a few months, several months. Like, he may not read something the way the head coach wants him to read it because he's learning the offense. Like, is that a fair assumption? I would like to think that that's a fair assumption of a newly installed QB1 at a completely different program where you're playing with guys for the first time. You haven't had a game yet, and you're learning a new offense. And if this is one of the things that Jackson Arnold may do, the circumstances around Jackson Arnold, to Mike G's point, are so much better than what it was a year ago at Oklahoma, to where there's enough to cover any types of sins that Jackson Arnold does if he's hanging on to the ball. Obviously, Hugh Freeze's concern is that you don't want to run the risk of getting injured, hurting yourself because you're hanging on to the ball. Fair critique, and that's something that he has to learn. But you know what I'm not hearing? I'm not hearing that Jackson Arnold is throwing pick sixes. I'm not hearing that he's fumbling the ball left and right. You know, the things that he was doing at Oklahoma too, that a lot of people was claiming he was doing. If he's hanging on to the ball and he's doing it during fall camp and Hugh Freeze is getting upset and letting him know that's unacceptable, I'm okay with that. And for a lot of people who are concerned about Auburn fans who are concerned, you have to make up your mind what's more concerning. Because if Hugh Freeze was taking it easy on him, allegedly, early on, because he wanted to give his QB some confidence, you wanted the defense. But now you see Hugh Freeze throwing his visor and coaching him up, and now you're concerned. Well, you're going to have to pick a struggle. Either you want him to
That's
be
where I am about it. You got to make your mind up.
Weren't
people just going ballistic saying Coach Hugh Freeze was taking it too easy on the quarterback, and now they're going crazy because he's holding the quarterback to a high standard? On, like, come on, bro. Like,
what are we arguing about?
This man to be?
Yeah. I mean, that's a fantastic point. You can't have both sides of this coin. You can't. But like I said, I mean, the overreaction to one hard coaching moment during practice just happened to be during a moment where the media was out there. Is like, guys, don't go there in your mind. Don't do this to yourselves. It's gonna be okay. Auburn's gonna play football, and they're gonna win 8 football games. As a matter of fact, according to Ike's boss toss and loss, he'll go undefeated. So, look, man, Jackson Arnold, we've been through this. The Locked On Baylor guy. I don't know if anybody watched that Locked On segment where he brought Cam Stewart back on to defend his stance on Jackson Arnold and got absolutely demolished by the facts.
Where? What?
Zach Blackerby brought the Locked On Baylor guy because he went on this long rant on Locked On Big 12 channel talking about how Jackson Arnold. They said, the guys, it was the most condescending shit ever. He said, and it's my birthday, so I'm gonna curse. But he said,
okay,
he said, Jackson Arnold is going to have to throw the ball a forward pass, and I fear that's the problem for Auburn. And I was like,
that on Zach's show?
No, he said that on the Locked On Big 12 channel,
yeah.
Right? Talking about the Baylor game because the Baylor guy was on with the Locked On Big 12 guy. This thing went viral. I quote tweeted it and just put some stats out there because he thinks that Sawyer Robertson is a much better quarterback than Jackson Arnold. And I'm like, well, the numbers don't really bear that out.
Yeah, Jackson Arnold, been my argument the entire time of everyone who's made that statement is that I don't know that there's a point to me. QBR, I think, is the only statistical category that you can make that argument. But if you're only going to point to one stat and tell me one quarterback is heads and tails above the other one, then I have to say I don't know how you shouldn't probably evaluate who's better.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Jackson Arnold had a slightly better completion percentage than Sawyer Robertson. And Sawyer Robertson's whole wide receiver room didn't get hurt. He had a better touchdown to interception ratio. That's another thing that they said on that show that was not demonstrably false, but it deserves some context. It was, he's a turnover machine. And I'm like, but fumbles because you're running for your life and interceptions are two different things. And he only had 3 interceptions last year.
Right.
So he wasn't throwing the ball to the other team. As a matter of fact, Sawyer Robertson did that at a worse rate than Jackson Arnold did.
Correct.
So you're trying to tell me if you remove all the factors, the negative factors from Jackson Arnold, better wide receiver room, better O-line, not firing your OC like mid-season, better running backs, that you're not going to see a better Jackson Arnold? I'm not saying he's going to win the Heisman. But where is all this confidence that Jackson Arnold is going to play so much worse than Sawyer Robertson that it's not even going to be close? He called Baylor to win that game comfortably.
Yeah.
I'm like, comfortably? Baylor faced 6 top 60 scoring defenses last year, and they only beat one of them, Houston. And in that one, they didn't even hit their scoring averages. They won that game 20-10. Houston lost because they couldn't score. Their offense was atrocious in that game. I went back and watched it. So, yeah. I mean, Hugh Freeze is going to be able to get more out of Jackson Arnold than what we saw at Oklahoma. How much more? I'm not like, that's the question. How much more is he going to be able to get out of him? I'm not sure. I think that's where if you're an Auburn fan, you're sitting back and you're thinking, all right, we're going to see some offense that we've never seen before. We're going to see like some receiver sets we've never seen before. And we're going to see some quarterback play that we've never seen before because we've never had this level of talent around the quarterback. Not at wideout anyway. Jackson Arnold is going to have to completely crap the bed getting the ball to these receivers. And he didn't exactly do that at Oklahoma.
Yeah. So what I'm willing to acknowledge, and I've acknowledged this multiple times, is, and if you've watched me do the film review on him, he does hold the ball too long sometimes, right? Like, and that is his. I think this is the thing that people forget, right? Like, because it's difficult to remember this sometimes. Last year was his first year as a starter. So if he's not seeing the field like a senior, that doesn't mean he's never going to get better at it. And you have a first year starter who is doing this in front of a terrible O-line with no receivers.
Right.
Yes, he's gonna be skittish and gunshot. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, I don't know what you I don't know what you expect in those scenarios, but like that does not mean Jackson Arnold is an awful quarterback. Like, it's just like I just don't know how
Yeah,
we can't like put those things together well enough to say, oh, there were circumstances that actually led to this.
Yeah, I mean, and if that's your worst critique you can give about a guy, I think he's going to be okay if he's coachable, right? Like if he's not a turnover machine, like if he's turning over the ball, if we're hearing about him throwing picks all through practice and scrimmage, then okay, I will be. That's to me that's alarming there. But if he's holding onto the ball, I expect this guy who, to your point, Ike. He's in a new system. He has a new offensive coordinator yet again. This is a new system he's learning yet again. This is his third offensive coordinator in a row, I think.
So he started with Levy when his freshman season, when he was a redshirt freshman. He had the new guy that started at the beginning of Oklahoma. They switched to the new guy in the middle of the season.
So this is
now
fourth offensive coordinator.
Fourth offensive coordinator
in 3 years.
Yes.
If the biggest critique is that he's hanging on to the ball, I'm willing to bear with him.
It means the thing that says to me is he's risk averse, which is a little bit of kind of a contradiction to what we were hearing early in camp, which is that he's getting greedy. He's out there trying to force it into certain scenarios, and they tried to reel that back in. And so I don't really know what to make of it until he gets in front of live situations where he's actually like, how is he performing in scrimmages and how is he going to perform on game day? But I don't understand this conversation around Jackson Arnold being so lacking in nuance. I don't get that.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, people want to believe what they want to believe that fits whatever bias they want to believe. So if you want to believe that Oklahoma is going to be much better this year because they've got a much better quarterback, then you want to believe that Jackson Arnold was the problem. Now, they brought in a very good quarterback to replace him, I think. Certainly a proven guy, albeit at Washington State. I believe he'll do well. Josh Pate actually picked John Mateer to win the Heisman. So, they've got decent quarterback play there, and there's a lot of hope in that program that they're going to be a lot better. But Auburn fans have the same hope. As a matter of fact, I think, what the chances that John Mateer is going to come to the SEC and be a dynamo at Oklahoma, or the chances that Jackson Arnold is going to transfer to another SEC program and just be better than he was at a place where everybody around him got hurt. I'd bet on Jackson Arnold.
Yeah,
being a better quarterback than he was at a place where everything literally went wrong.
I really don't understand the thought process around people, and forgive me for randomly taking a shot at Bama, but I'm going to do it. The thought process around people who are willing to think that Ty Simpson is going to certainly be better, certainly, because they're saying for sure he only has to be good enough to get the ball to these dynamic playmakers that Bama I've heard this repeatedly from multiple people who are Bama folks, who are SEC folks, who are national. All Ty Simpson has to do is, when the only evidence that you have of Ty Simpson on a field has been atrocious, all he has to do is this season, and people are willing to say that's likely to happen, but they don't think that Jackson Arnold, all he had, somehow the Jackson Arnold standard is he needs to be in a Heisman conversation or he's crap.
Right.
And I'm just like, there's a big gulf between these two things that he can exist in, because all he has to do is get the ball to all his like, I don't understand how the conversation becomes so different all of a sudden for Jackson Arnold. How the conversation was so different for a guy like Spencer Rattler, who was at Oklahoma, didn't look so great there, but then he gets to South Carolina, and people are like, this is going to be the resurrection for him. Why is Jackson Arnold's standard so different?
That is a good comparison.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's been on that
Wow.
one. Look, Oklahoma, have they been wrecking quarterbacks for a minute here?
Well, I mean, it was a completely different coach. You know what I'm saying? Like he was there when your guy who's at USC now was the coach.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley, right?
Yeah, he was there with Lincoln Riley. But I
don't know, but the curse follows the program.
I don't understand why the conversation is different. I'm not saying this is not a prediction that Jackson Arnold is going to be a dark horse Heisman guy. I'm just asking, why is it that he has no ability in the minds of a lot of people to improve increment? He doesn't even have to make a monumental leap, an incremental leap with the amount of talent that he has around him. Because let's be clear, if the talent around him at Oklahoma was better last year, Oklahoma's record would have been better last year.
Yeah,
it just would have been, and that has nothing to do with Jackson Arnold.
Let me actually catalog what kind of improvement. Well, I know what it looks like. A successful season at Auburn looks like. If his touchdown to interception ratio holds, we're gonna be okay, right? 4 touchdowns to every 1 interception, like that's going to lead most conferences.
Somebody said this in the comments, and because we're on it right now. There we go. Beat Georgia said Jackson Arnold only has to do with what PT did, but protect the ball. Completely doable. And that's essentially what you're saying here is if Peyton Thorne does, I don't know what PT's touchdown to interception ratio was last year, but if he has the touchdown to interception ratio that Jackson Arnold did with the same number of yards, Auburn wins more games. Like that point blank period. If he repeats that and takes care of the football, Auburn's going to be fine.
Yeah. So again, looking at Peyton Thorne last year,
you put it up.
He had almost like 2-1, right? Like I mean, it's 21 touchdowns and 9 interceptions is almost 2-1.
So let's make that a 3-1, or excuse me, a 4-1 ratio, which is what Jackson Arnold had last season.
Jackson Arnold's in the Heisman talk. He's right. He's in the a
4-1 touchdown to interception ratio and putting up 3,000 something yards.
Auburn wins. Auburn wins 10 games last year.
Bro, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So the touchdown interception ratio, but also Jackson Arnold had a very low amount of attempts. So he, to get to where Peyton Thorne is at, he's going to need about close to 80 more pass attempts on the season to just break.
And if that ratio holds true, plus his completion percentage holds true, then you've got you've got a really good year from a quarterback, and Auburn's in a very different conversation in the win-loss column.
Yeah, Peyton Thorne was 9th in the conference last year in terms of total attempts. That's probably going to have to go up a little bit this year. Yeah, I think he's going to need to be in the 350 range. But like I said, I mean, if we have a large enough sample size from those 246 attempts to say 4 touchdowns to every 1 interception probably holds with another 100 pass attempts, right? And if that holds, then I think you'll see, as long as he doesn't fumble. Now, and that's the key, though. As long as he does not fumble. Right.
You have to erase the turnover portion of it. But again, Oklahoma's offensive line, I've said this many times, one of the worst in the country last year. Not in the SEC, in the country. Terrible last year. So now I'm not saying that that's the only reason Jackson Arnold fumbled the football is because the offensive line was bad, but it ain't helping.
And I'm of the belief. I mean, obviously he's going to take what the defense gives him, but I'm assuming Hugh Freeze doesn't want him to run as much as he had to the back end of last year for Oklahoma. Right. Like that's not what Auburn's asking him to do in this offense. So the opportunities for him to fumble the football, in my opinion, won't be there this year the way it was last year at Oklahoma.
Unless you're telling me he was just out there dropping the ball with nobody around him, then I don't. I mean, I get it. He had to run the ball some last year at Oklahoma, so I
Right.
think that has to be factored in at least some
Right.
to the numbers. But like they're not gonna want him to do that as much. Like Peyton Thorne ran the ball quite a shocking amount at Auburn last year, and you just don't want your quarterback to have to run as much. Like he had, I mean, Jackson Arnold had 150 rush attempts last year, 150. If he gets triple digit rushing attempts, I'm gonna tell you guys now, we're probably not having a great season.
Yeah.
If he runs the ball 150 times, we're not having a great season, because his name is not Cam Newton. And that means that you probably are not throwing the ball as much to all these dynamic wideouts as we would like. So, that number has got to go down. The attempts with his arm have to go up. But, if you add, like, let's say if you turn 75% of his rush attempts into pass attempts, he's in the top 4 in the league in terms of pass attempts on the season. So, you've got to get those rush attempts down to like a normal number, man. 150 is not normal for a QB. And Jackson Arnold is athletic, man. But like, I don't know. Like Jalen Milroe is a ridiculous athlete. 168 attempts for him last year. Lenore Seller had 166 attempts last year. Diego Pavia had 193 attempts last year. These guys are built differently than Jackson Arnold is.
Yeah.
Every guy I just named is built much differently. Taylor Green had 156 attempts. Which one of the teams that I named had a great season with their quarterback running that much? Vanderbilt won some games.
Yeah, but I don't know that any of them were great.
Alabama missed the playoffs.
Had a good season for sure.
Yeah, Alabama missed the playoffs, though. By their standards, they had a terrible season. They missed the playoff.
That's why I said good, not great. Yeah.
Lenore Sellers, same thing. They went on the run, not good enough to get in the playoffs. Taylor Green, same that. Like their coach is on the hot seat this year. I mean, all I'm saying, I don't. There's no precedent in today's SEC for a guy running the ball that much and having hitting their goals for the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's an anomalous thing for a QB to run that much, and you had a good year like that. Look, Marshall running. I mean, it was anomalous what Auburn's offense was. Cam Newton, like those are special types of years. It's very difficult to have it in between. It's either you're doing exceptionally well, or you're not. To your point, you're not doing as well as you hoped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I think the conversation around Jackson Arnold has been a little disingenuous and unfair to the young man. Does that mean that I think that Jackson Arnold, again, is going to be a Heisman caliber guy this year? I don't know, and I don't think he has to be in order for Auburn to get to 8 wins, which is what we all feel like is the low water mark that Auburn needs to get to this season. He doesn't need to be. If you've got a Heisman guy and you're only getting to 8 wins, and there's a whole other list of problems that you need to be able to sort out with your team. So that's not the conversation that we're supposed to be having around Jackson Arnold this year. I just don't think it's been fair. And I don't think Hugh Freeze is wrong for asking Jackson Arnold to be better in practice. What I will say in addition to this is that it's okay, I think, for Jackson Arnold to just let it rip in practice too, though. Like, hey man, throw the dang football. If you make a mistake, either the mistake is going to be you threw an interception, threw it to the wrong guy, or you didn't throw the ball at all. All of those mistakes can be corrected, but now's the time to make those mistakes, and now's the time to make those corrections. I think Hugh Freeze may have been a little too lacking in some of that fire in practice before because he didn't want to. He said it himself. He was like, I got to maybe, calm down a little bit and not go crazy on the court. Go crazy on him in practice, man. Make them listen. That's not right. And we're not going to do it that way every single time. It needs to be better.
Yeah. I mean, do whatever they respond to is where I'm at.
For sure.
If he responds to that sort of coaching, then great. If he doesn't, then you're probably not helping your program. But I trust him to know where that line is at. He's around these guys every day. He should know what kind of coaching they respond to.
And recruit guys that work well with your coaching style too, right? Like if you
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
constantly adjust who you are, then you need to recruit differently.
Well, yeah, that or right, like you remember. I think I talked about this on the show. Nick Saban, that and a lot of programs do this, but like I think Alabama kind of pioneered it, where they were doing these like similar to what Sets for Society.ai does, yeah, right, where they do these personality assessments and they just try to, are you a left brain or a right brain thinker? Let's figure out how we can teach so that you will learn, rather than looking at your tutelage as a one size fits all, right? If you're willing to go that extra step, then you see, and that's one of the things I'll tell you, I've always been impressed with Nick Saban, is his willingness to move away from what he has done in the past that has had success for him to adapt to what works now is pretty impressive. For a coach of his pedigree to not go down that hole of, we know how to coach it, right? So we're going to do it our way and you're going to conform. They seem to not do that there. And I think that it had marked successful, effects on their program. So, Hugh Freeze, when you hired Hugh Freeze, you bought into the Hugh Freeze way. You bought into the Hugh Freeze way, and it's got to produce. He hung his hat on QB development, and I'm going to continue to quote our friend Jake Crane. You can be bad at the things you're bad at, but you can't be bad at the things you're supposed to be good at. Supposed to be good at quarterback development. Develop these quarterbacks, and it's time. It's year 3. It's former 5-star guy, right? And you picked this dude.
Yeah.
All right. You went into the portal. You looked at all the guys there, and you threw the bag at Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Hugh Freeze feels like he's got time. We keep having the conversation about like 7 wins. Like it's, 7 wins put him on the hot seat. Should he be fired? Like, that kind of thing. I wonder if he feels like he's got multiple years to get this right with Jackson Arnold. I don't know.
I don't know about.
I don't know if he has multiple
right,
years,
I think
because
we need to qualify that.
I don't know if he has multiple years, because you got Deuce Knight. I mean, it's going to be tough to ask him to sit behind a project. Like Jackson Arnold's going to have to get it going.
Yeah. What I fear is that Auburn is now in a situation where they require a savior at QB. Guys, I have longed for the day where we could watch an Auburn team just go out and be balanced and not need friggin' Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Or Nick Marshall, who was a ridiculous athlete, one of the more underrated athletes ever. So I don't know, like, in my mind, this could be the year. That's how I felt when Jeremy Johnson took over. It was like, all right, not a ridiculous the athlete, but he throws the ball extremely well, and we could be really good in the other area, and that could open up opportunities in the run game. Then Jeremy suffered from blindness.
Jeremy-itis.
and we couldn't get there, right? Like, so it's tough. It was tough. I know Nick Marshall was a hard act to follow. He threw for almost 450 yards in his last Iron Bowl. It's an Auburn record.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, I don't know that Jackson Arnold needs to. Well, to your point, we don't need to have Jackson Arnold have to be. I mean, listen, Jared Stidham feels like a high bar at this point in time, but that's more the range of what you need Jackson Arnold to be. Just dangerous enough with your legs, and I think he's probably a better runner than Jared Stidham was, but need to be more accurate down the field, get the ball to the playmakers. But Jared Stidham had a really good running game to lean on to allow him to do that. We'll see what happens this year with this team and their run game, but man, yeah, it's time out for needing Superman at quarterback to be good. I don't know if you national championship aspirations aside, just being a good football team with a quality quarterback is not too much to ask for the 2025 version of the Auburn Tigers.
I agree. Look, man, Hugh has been given the resources to go out and build that sort of team. It appears that they have it. But like I said, if your play calling dictates that you need that guy, it somewhat negates the advantage that you've built in other areas. Right? You call a bad play, now suddenly your wide receivers are less dangerous, your running backs are less dangerous, your line is less effective. We have a bigger discussion, I think, maybe coming after game one about play calling if it doesn't look good, because you can't continue to blame the athletes year after year after year. Not with all the resources they've been given to go out and get the guys that they want. At some point, it's just you. You are the common denominator in each one of these years. So we continue to see the same problems, right? The system is the issue, right? And I'm hoping that
I don't know that I'm ready to have that conversation after game one, but it depends on how bad it looks too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's my point, right? Like, come on now. Now you're going to be in Waco. But after game one, if we're sitting here like, God damn it, why did he fucking call that shit? You're going to have some feelings about it.
Yeah,
if the game is on the line.
Yeah.
If the game is on the line and he does the thing, calls the halfback pass or the wildcat thing or any of the other goofy shit that we've seen him do at random times last year, it's going to be really, really frustrating. At some point, the play calling has to catch up to the talent.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think a nuanced conversation, once I go back and watch the film, will tell me, was this play calling or was this execution? And there are going to be instances in crucial moments where the play calling needs to be better, and we've had to critique that over the years. I don't know that that's a new conversation. I think that's going to be a continuance of the same conversation.
Now, here's what I will say. Here's the safety net I'm pulling from them when you talk about execution. In year 3, if your players still can't execute the things that you're putting in, you have a teaching issue. In year 3, if they still can't execute to
if they were the same players all 3 years, I'd say that I would agree with that too. But one game. A lot of this team is the same.
A lot of this team is the same on offense.
I don't disagree. The quarterback's not, though.
Okay, but like, how many different quarterbacks do you need to see before you say it's on you?
More than 2.
No, I respectfully in today's portal age, I disagree with that. Like, eventually it falls back to you because you picked the quarterback. If you pick wrong
eventually,
again,
I said after one game, I wouldn't be ready to go there.
Yeah, well, look, man, it's going to get hot after game 1. It's going to get real hot for him.
So 100% agree with that. That will be a narrative. I just said I would not be willing to do that after one game.
Yeah, it just can't be the same stuff. I think I could stomach a loss, but it can't be the same stuff. We can't be sitting here talking about the same crap in year 3. Right? Like, and if he's holding on to the ball too long, dude, get this man a sports psychologist. Is it because that's mental? Like, that's mental. You're not processing the game fast enough at a high level enough going into your 3rd year as a quarterback. And I think you pointed out he only really played a couple games. I think that first year had the bowl game where he threw 3 picks, but he also had like almost 400 yards passing. It just, Hugh has got, I want this. I want this for Hugh.
Yeah.
If it sounds like I'm hard on him in the comments, because I know people are going to hit the comments and be like, you always want to see him fail. No. I want this for Hugh. I want this to be a non-issue, but until he makes it a non-issue, it's going to continue to be talked about. Right. And then you have this clip of you losing it on your quarterbacks, and people start to get PTSD from what they've seen the last few years. So it just has to get better at some point. I think this is the year. And I predicted 9-3. So I obviously have faith that they're going to go out and do it. I predicted 9-3. I think that this is the season. I'm sticking by that. I'm not buying any of this. He's throwing it late. I think Auburn's defense has something to do with why, at times he struggles in practice. He's practicing against a really good defense. If they're going 1s versus 1s, And Hugh is not telling DJ to take it easy on him. I bet it's difficult going through your reads out there with Keldrick Faulk flying around in your face, and as it should be.
Yeah, I mean he needs to feel that pressure to be able to perform at the way that he needs to when it's time for real.
Can Baylor replicate that though? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think they can. So
we will see. Again, Dave Aranda, good defensive coordinator. I'm not sure that they're ready for what could potentially be the onslaught that could happen if Auburn has their stuff together. But let's move on, because we have a great conversation to continue on the other side of the break. But if you are here live right now, please do us a favor. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure that you share the content with somebody. We got like over 300 people in here, only 48 likes, man. Y'all go ahead and do the thing. We'll be back right after this quick word from our sponsors. You're watching Weekend Tailgate.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
As always, join as a member. Your financial support helps keep us going here. We appreciate you guys for doing that. $5.99 a month will get you there during the season. Our game day experience, pregame and halftime, member only. We do that to make sure we can keep the Bammers out from spoiling the good time during the game. Ike will be in Waco on August 29th. You guys can support his work and the work that we're doing here by joining as a member. Hit that gifted membership button. Saw a few giving away on the first half of the show. Let's see if we can give a few more given away here in the second half of the show. I want to thank our title sponsor, Golden's Cast Iron. You guys see the codes there on the screen. Use those codes at goldenscastiron.com/WR to get your discounts today. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code RAPPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. And I want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. Get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault. To jump back into the show here, guys, for everybody DMing me right now, I appreciate the birthday love. The big 4-2 for your boy today. And for those of you asking for the Cash App, Wardam transfer, and I'll have a drink at Applebee's for you today and some ribs.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's get over into the comments. We got gifted memberships from Carmack and Beat Georgia. Appreciate both of you guys for doing that. Super chats here. Thanks for the super chat. AU Dirty Bird, who says happy birthday and many more, Mike G. What's for dinner tonight?
I don't know what they cook at Applebee's. I told y'all that's where I'm going.
When you live out in the country, Applebee's is the nice restaurant for folks. So let's not try to act like Mike G is like that's where you got to go when you live in the country, bro. You Applebee's, Cracker Barrel, like those are
Cracker
your
Barrel.
options.
Cracker Barrel, yes.
Barrel, that's the one. That's the one.
Cousin Shane from that SEC podcast would be proud. He loves his little Cracker Barrel. They actually blocked him on Twitter. Cracker Barrel did, and he posted the screenshot of it. He was like, "This is what hell feels like." Blocked my favorite restaurant.
What did they block him?
Why did they block him?
I don't know. He didn't give any context. I gotta go ask him why he got blocked by Cracker Barrel. I was dying when I saw that. You're so right though, man. Out in the country. For those, I mean, I don't talk about this often, and I don't think anybody's gonna find me, but I live on 70 acres of land in the country outside of Columbus, Georgia. So it's I think it's like Applebee's and Chili's. Those are the first things you hit on the way to town. And Panda Express for some reason. I don't know.
So you gotta go what's there. Colton jumps in and says, I'm at work, so I can't catch all the live, but I wanted to pop in and wish my guy Mike G a happy birthday right quick. Appreciate all that y'all do. Appreciate you, Colton, for that. So Nina super chat says this wide receiver room just needs Jackson Arnold to put the ball near them. Catch radius has been the catchphrase for Coach Hugh Freeze over the past 3 seasons. This year, I don't think that should be an issue for this team. So Nina again here says, thinks Coach Hugh Freeze, he's coaching for his job. Every coach is coaching for their job, but he's a little bit closer to the pink slip, I think, than some other people are now in year 3, based upon the results of year 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Let's see. Miller jumps in. Was glad to see Freeze let Jackson Arnold have it in front of the media. The standard is being set this season. Listen, man, I don't like, you can't pretend, like, man, be who you are and let that be the thing. But to your point, Mike, you know, hey, if this is something that you know Jackson Arnold can take, then do that.
Yeah.
Like, do what you need to do to motivate your guys to get to where they need to be,
He
short
know
of
what he
like
signed
doing
up
something
for.
crazy, like slapping him. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
He knows what he
yelling
signed
ain't gonna
up
hurt.
for.
Yeah.
Jackson knows what he signed up for. And for what it's worth, he had a conversation with Peyton Thorne before he transferred. Now, you know, and I won't divulge the contents of that conversation on live, but I mean, all I'll say is I know Peyton was the one who told me about it, and like he knows what he got into. Jackson knows exactly what he got into. He did his homework on Hugh Freeze, asked Peyton the questions that he felt like he needed answered, and ultimately chose Auburn. So obviously he heard some from Peyton that he felt like, okay, I went there, and he made the decision. So he knows what he got into. I don't think that would be the least of my worries with is about whether he can take the coaching or not. Look, man, if you've played ball at a high level, you're Jackson Arnold. There's not a lot of kids who get a 5-star ranking that haven't got a ton of hard coaching along the way.
Right.
Like, I mean, come on, man. Yeah, I get it. Maybe there's the random guy who's just so good and he's a diva and his coaches let him get away with everything. But for the most part, a lot of those guys get that good because there's a dad, a peewee coach, somebody who was back there just driving them hard, trying to get them to reach their full potential. I don't have the same relationship with Jackson Arnold that I have with Peyton Thorne, but I can tell you, I just have to assume that he went through, to make it to this level and to be as coveted as he was, man. He had some hard coaching along the way, and Hugh Freeze isn't the first coach to lose it on him at practice.
Yeah, super chat just came in here from Dwayne, who says, "Happy birthday, Mike." Appreciate the super chat, sir. Couple more here. James Barnett, most coaches that have a pulse throw more than their visor. It's a fact. Amplifying that point here, Lawrence Robinson, who says Saban lost it on everybody, even Lane Kiffin. The issue is they win. Auburn's got to put up the wins.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Point blank,
retrospect, I mean, Saban gave it to Kirby Smart several times, and that was arguably one of his best assistants that he's had. And there's plenty of film of him giving Kirby Smart an earful.
Yeah, this is not the first time, to the point of Devin here, Hugh Freeze is coaching. Oh, the horror that we've seen a coach get upset.
That's funny, Devin. Good
at practice, during a game, in press conferences. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I get it. It's Hugh Freeze, and people like to like crap on Hugh Freeze about whatever he does. But it seems as if it's like, again, if you're going to say he's taking it too easy, then you get upset that he's not taking it easy. I need you to relax. I just need you to relax and stop talking for just a minute, because now you're not making sense. So, because again, this is the time where it matters. We're in prep mode right now. So speaking of preparation, though, we are preparing for the season, and one analyst with the ACC, a Miami guy, made a statement. I'm not going to play the video. You guys can go search for the video. It's out there on X for sure. His statement was, in terms of, and what context around this conversation, Eric Singleton Jr. made the transfer from Georgia Tech to Auburn. He argues that Eric Singleton Jr. went to a worse situation, and I quote, Auburn wishes they were Georgia Tech right now. I have a lot of thoughts about that statement, but I will open because Mike, you already gave your thoughts a little bit. If you want to go over to the Auburn Express on podcast, I believe Mike G already has a little bit of that conversation over there. But like, what Auburn wishes they were Georgia Tech. Just what are the thoughts there? Because I got a lot of them. I got a lot.
Yeah, look, I told you it's my birthday, so I'm gonna curse. Man, fuck this guy. I am sick of people getting in front of a microphone and just saying the silliest stuff. Like, come on, man. Like, first the Baylor dude, and now this, right? Like, Eric Singleton Jr. put his blood, sweat, and tears into practice at Georgia Tech for years. If he left, I have to assume he knows something about that program we don't know. But acting like he can't come here and find success is crazy. Keandre Lambert-Smith was a 600-some yard receiver. Penn State fans dogged him on the way out the door.
That was going to be my point number one. Continue.
Penn State absolutely dogged him on the way out the door. And he was the fourth leading receiver in the SEC. He missed third by 6 yards. Come on, man. What are we talking about? He was tied for second in the conference for touchdown passes, Keandre Lambert-Smith. And he absolutely was a better receiver at Auburn than he was at Penn State, who made the college football playoff. Yeah, who made the college football playoff. Maybe Eric Singleton Jr. is looking at what Keandre Lambert-Smith did and said, hey, they did that for him. They can do that for me. I'm a 600-something yard receiver. Maybe I'll just head on over there and we'll keep the party going. Last year in the ACC, Eric Singleton Jr., guys, was nowhere to be found in terms of touchdowns. He was the 13th best receiver in the conference. And I misspoke. He was a 754 yards. On 56 catches, very similar to Keandre in terms of catches. Only 3 touchdowns. He's going to do better than that at Auburn. He's going to do much better than that at Auburn. And everybody around him is dangerous. Now, look, Haynes King was 72% passing last year. So if you're looking at the numbers, like I kind of get that a little bit.
Can we camp out on Haynes King for just a second, please?
That was going to be one of my talking points.
Go ahead, see, because we got to have this Haynes King conversation and keep it a buck, bro. Like
there were several comparisons he made. There's a lot of comparisons he drew that didn't have anything to do with anything with each other, right? He talked about Jackson Arnold again, like a lot of people are doing. And he talked about how he struggled and how's he going to do at Auburn, as if Haynes King wasn't
straight cheeks at Texas A&M. Are we being for real?
Bruh,
he was terrible at Texas A&M.
Did you not watch Haynes King? Was that your first time being experienced to Haynes King when he got to Georgia Tech?
Bro, I was like, the parallels. Please stop. We not gonna do that. We're not gonna act like we didn't see Haynes King before he got to Georgia Tech, bro. Like, come on.
But let's they managed Haynes King last year at Georgia Tech. They didn't exactly open up the offense. He had 269 pass attempts.
That's why I wanted to camp out here.
Yeah, 14 touchdowns to 2 interceptions is pretty good, but they didn't throw the ball. 2,100 yards. At 2,100 yards. That means that Eric Singleton Jr. was over 33% of their passing game. So I get why he's mad. 33% of the yards just walked out the door, and your dude was well short of 3,000 yards passing. So I get it. I get why he's mad. I like
but go ahead, Ike. I think you got more to say about that.
Nah, man. Again, he's acting as if he's going to this much worse situation when Auburn in all of the malfunction that has happened offensively was still a better offensive team than Georgia Tech was by the numbers. Like what are we doing, bro?
Yeah.
It's in terms of passing game, better.
The problem that I have,
And hold on, let me say one more thing because somebody sent this to me and I have to say this.
Okay.
Chad Bishop over on Twitter tweeted today, after today's scrimmage, this was on August the 16th, he said this, so yesterday. After today's scrimmage, Georgia Tech's second of the preseason, Coach Brent Key said,
Oh, yeah,
we're
I
nowhere
saw this.
near ready to play a football game. The team he left, who Auburn wishes they could be, their head coach is like, we're nowhere near ready to play a football game. Come on, dog.
Yeah, like I don't.
So Georgia Tech,
relax.
Georgia Tech went 7-6 last year. Better record than Auburn, but you did it in the ACC and in a conference and in a year that you avoided playing the top two teams in that conference that year. You did not play SMU and you did not play Clemson. And you went 7-5 before losing to Vanderbilt in the Birmingham Bowl. Over the last 2 years, 2 years that Hugh Freeze has been in Auburn, they have gone 14-12. Auburn has gone 11-14. That's better than Auburn, but you're doing it in an ACC. What do you think Georgia Tech's record would be if they were in the SEC?
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Do you think it'll be 14-12? Let's look at recruiting. Let's just talk about recruiting. Because since we wish we were them. In 2024, Georgia Tech had the 33rd ranked recruiting class. The year before that, they were 61st. Hugh Freeze's seat would be nuclear levels of hot if this was what Auburn was putting in the last 2 seasons. Yes. He's coaching for his job because of his record. He has to show and prove. But the reason why his seat isn't
Brian
as
Harsin
hot
levels, bro, of recruiting stuff. Like, come on, bro. Like, come
Yes.
on, let's be for real.
We will be talking about Brian Harsin. This would be Brian Hart. He'll be one of the worst coaches in Auburn football history if he was doing that at Auburn. No, Auburn doesn't wish they were Georgia Tech. They don't want to be the Rambling Wreck. We're fine. Just be mad that Eric Singleton left to go to Auburn. That's fine, but start drawing comparisons as though Auburn wish they were Georgia Tech.
And I get it. Like, you know, sometimes people just say some stuff because they want the headlines and we're giving them that. But bro, you deserve this. Like, that's not it's not an intelligent statement, dog. It's just not.
I guess my issue with the Baylor guy, Cam, and look, for what it's worth, Cam Stewart is actually a very nice person. Sometimes we all get caught up in the moment, right? Like, and we say some things that we know probably are not going to happen. But I get tired of people who claim to cover the sport only speaking from one side. Because when we spoke on Baylor, I challenged people to challenge me on my take about Sawyer Robertson. You're coming in and you're telling me about Baylor right. This, Baylor that, Baylor this, and you're making assumptions about Auburn, but you're stating things that are blatantly false, which tells me that you have done no research on the other side. So you actually don't know. You're just hoping that what you see from your side means that you're going to have a better result.
You're looking at statistics and you are looking at wins and losses and you're saying, oh, they can't be that good. And it's like, well, maybe watch a couple of games, maybe look at some advanced statistics, maybe do some comparative analysis to the competition that they're playing before you have a conversation about what the state of a program is. Because listen, Auburn is in a unique position where, and Georgia Tech, listen, to their credit, gave Georgia hell last year.
Yeah, they beat Miami.
Really good game last year versus some quality teams. But you can say the same thing about Auburn, given some like, let's not act like Auburn was just getting the doors blown off of them. last season. Like, what are we doing, bro? Like,
Well, yeah,
what are we doing?
that was my point about and where I would challenge you, Ike, is I don't even think most of these people are actually looking at statistics, because if you were, you wouldn't be making these silly arguments.
They're looking at
Not,
record.
not even in the advanced statistics, right?
Right.
Just in the regular statistics, Auburn and Baylor moved the ball at about the same rate last year. About 70 yards difference if you extrapolate their bowl game numbers, because Auburn didn't make a bowl game. In the regular season, about 70 yards separated the Auburn and Baylor. So I don't know. I don't know how you look at what Keandre Lambert-Smith did last year at Auburn and you say, hey, man, you had a nearly 1,000-yard receiver. You had a true freshman go for nearly 600 yards and be tied for second in the conference in touchdown catches. At receiver, at least, it's trending up.
Right.
Eric Singleton is going to get a ton of burn here.
And then wonder why a guy who was playing in a system that ran the ball as much as they did at Georgia Tech last year wanted to leave for a system where you actually have a shot of being 1,000-yard receiver.
Right.
It's a crazy thought that a guy would leave. It must be because they gave him a bunch. There's no other reason. It must be gave him a bunch of money, right?
Here's the problem with Georgia Tech. To be 1,000-yard receiver there, he would have had to been like 48% of their passing yards. 48%. And if you're throwing the ball to one dude that much, eventually teams are going to catch on. They're going to start locking you down.
Yeah.
Because the guys around you clearly aren't doing enough. Nope. If nobody else is a threat, I'd rather go play with Cam Coleman, where he's going to draw some attention and I'm going to break off huge catches, yards after catch. And if his speed is what is being reported, low 4.2s, I understand why Georgia Tech people would be upset that he left. Because 33% of your receiving yards just walked out the door. And he went on to say that they have a receiver that came in or on that roster that is an upgrade from Eric Singleton Jr. That is the biggest cope I have heard. What a cope, man. We upgraded. What?
I don't even know who he's talking about. Maybe he is a better receiver, but like that would mean that this guy is probably like a perennial NFL like dude, because Eric Singleton's going to the league, right?
We would have known about this. And listen, the way Hugh Freeze recruits receivers, we would have known about this kid going to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know who you're talking about.
It was a wild statement.
Never heard of
it.
They got
an upgraded receiver.
He won't be on Georgia Tech for more than one season. The way that they throw the ball,
yeah,
he's going to go somewhere where they're going to throw him the football.
If he's that good, if he's a guy like that, better than Eric Singleton, he will be on someone else's team in a year because he's going to get tired of being out there being a blocking dummy.
You Suge Knight. Hey, you tired of your head coach just running the ball all the time? Dancing in videos.
Listen, this is I hate doing this, right? Because I get it that Auburn isn't where they should be, and so it makes you feel good about where you are. And I hate doing because I actually like Georgia Tech. I don't want to sit here and crap on you making me do this to y'all. Y'all keep making me go out here and remind y'all who you are. Stop making me do this. I want to just talk about us and where we are. But every time you poke your little whack-a-mole head up out the ground, I got to bop it back down with my hammer. Stop doing this.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's your fault. It's your fault we're doing this.
People seem really for a 5-7 program. Like, boy, I'm telling you, they can't stop
rent free,
about
right?
Auburn.
We're living rent free.
Like these other analysts cannot stop talking about Auburn. For a 5-7 program, they are projecting quite a bit. So, or maybe it's that Auburn has brought in unprecedented levels of talent and they can't understand why. This is a very, very talented football team. And this isn't a stance I've taken recently. If you listen to the show, I've said it everywhere that I've been asked. I said it at media days. I said it on the radio. Auburn has probably the most talented team by composite star that they've had in the last 25 years. Defense, offense, everywhere. There's a lot of talent here. And I said probably, but I'm telling you, this team rivals some of the better teams you've seen in Auburn history in terms of all-around talent. Yeah, they went undefeated in 2010, but let's keep it a buck. They're 7-5 without Cam Newton.
Sure.
They're 7-5 without Cam Newton. In 2004, I would argue that this team rivals that one in terms of all-around talent. 4 first-round draft picks, really hard to ignore how much talent that team had. The receivers never got the praise that they should have gotten for being as good as they were because of Ronnie and Cadillac. But that was as solid a wide receiver core as we've ever seen at Auburn. By composite star, this one may be just as talented, if not more talented. But will they get the opportunity to show what they can do? So, yeah, it's just one of the things that bothers me. It seems like as we get closer to game one, every time I turn on something, somebody's saying something about Auburn being overrated or worse than they are, or just, they're mad at some player transfer. I can't understand why Eric Singleton chose Auburn. It's a worse situation. Bro, did you look at the passing stats? He may have been, how do you go 72% passing and barely breach 2,000 yards?
Right.
Yikes, man. Maybe the offense isn't pass friendly, like Ike said.
And on top of that, if you're Georgia Tech, you damn near have to win the ACC to even sniff a chance at getting into the college football playoff.
Indeed.
Like you better at least be in the ACC. And again, last year proved that you need to at least make the game. That's not the case in the SEC.
Yeah, the 4th best team in the SEC could get in.
So you're going to a situation where they're going to throw might throw the ball more. They're going to throw the football more. They're still going to use you in all the exotic ways and running the ball, all that kind of stuff, because the system allows for that sort of thing. And your margin for error as far as wins and losses is higher because you're in a conference that gets more respect nationally. You're already going to be an NFL type of guy. You just need to prove that you can be a better, more prolific receiver because they're throwing you the ball in different kinds of ways. How is this a bad move for Eric Singleton?
Then the proof of concept is already there. You already mentioned KLS, how he pretty much bumped up his draft status by coming to Auburn and getting the opportunities. He does that against more tough competition. He does it against the Bamas, the Georgias, the Oklahomas. I mean, if he does that, it's a better situation. Yes, NIL play may have played a factor, but he is in an offense that is pass friendly. That's going to give him opportunity. He's playing with other guys who's going to take the pressure off of him to be the guy as he was. He's not going to be keyed on as much because you can't key on anyone in this receiver room. He's in a much better situation.
I won't sit here and claim to know what Georgia Tech's offensive line situation is, right? But the overwhelmingly popular opinion at Auburn is that the line is going to be much better. There was a report from the last scrimmage that there were some inconsistencies on line play at times that they're trying to clean up, normal fall camp stuff. But guys like Eric Singleton probably took all that into account before making the decision to transfer. Right? Is the quarterback going to have time to get me the ball? And when Hugh Freeze made his recruiting pitch to Eric Singleton, I have to believe that was probably part of it. Look at the receivers, look at the line, look at all the pieces around you. If they key on, they're only going to be able to key in on you so long. You were the guy at Georgia Tech, right? You'll be one of the guys, but there'll be many more opportunities for you here than there were there. So, Peyton Thorne had 75 more pass attempts than Haynes King did last year. 75 more opportunities for receivers to catch the ball. If a third of those go to you, he's having a great season.
Yeah.
Come on, man. 25 more attempts to catch the ball on the season. 25 more targets. And the type of player he is, I gotta imagine, unless it's just a terrible throw, he's gonna catch more of those than not.
Right.
Which gives him a chance to have like 70 plus receptions on the season. I'll make him one of the best receivers in the country. Really not that hard to get, man, when you look at the numbers. But okay. Guy's name was John. Okay, John. Yeah, like you're looking at record and you're ignoring the singular aspect of this, right? Like Eric Singleton wants to get to the league and he needs tape, which means he needs catches, right? And not to mention, like, I mean, I don't know what Georgia Tech's NIL situation is, but I also got to imagine, like, Auburn probably had a pretty big bag for Eric Singleton Jr.
Yeah.
If Hugh Freeze really wanted him, there was a bag there for him. So it isn't really that hard to get, man. I'm telling you, boy, you know the season is close when you start seeing takes like this all the time. Good grief, man. Who's next? What is the next thing that's going to be said about Auburn football that's going to send us over the edge on a live?
This is wild. Like Georgia Tech's been 14-12 over 2 years, but y'all want to beat them. You're I just don't understand how you compare two programs that do not play each other. It'd be one thing if Auburn played Georgia Tech and lost to Georgia Tech. I can understand the bragging rights and the trash talk around that. But you're comparing two programs that
Arkansas beat Auburn last year. I'm still not trying to beat Arkansas.
Yeah, like it's just, but I'm just saying, like I can almost kind of make
I'm not
it
trying to be Vanderbilt.
Right. I can understand that, but I'm like, these teams don't even play each, they have nothing to do with each other other than the guy you wanted left for that program. But they want to be you. It sounds like you want to be us because we got your guy.
Again, I think this is that SEC sour grape stuff, man, where it's like, why would you go to a team in the SEC that was bottom half of the league last year, and Georgia Tech is clearly going to be in the top half of the ACC? Here's the thing. The top half of a garbage conference is not good. Stop. Nobody cares about the ACC, bro. Like, stop. And the teams that are good in the ACC are actually good teams. And I don't dislike Georgia Tech. This ain't got nothing. This is not me out here trying to talk about how Georgia. I actually think that they have a really good head coach. I think that they have a program moving in the right direction. I think they have a legitimate shot to make some noise in the ACC. Full stop. It's the ACC. It is. Y'all were a whisper from not being a conference, and you had to go get some folks from over on the other side of the freaking continent to put a conference to patchwork a conference together. Stop,
your two best
bro.
programs we're talking about coming to the SEC, right? So I don't like. Did you guys see like the North Carolina to the SEC like noise a week ago? And I mean. We talk to Greg Sankey every year, and I see him on site when Ike and I are traveling covering basketball. And this man is so cocky about his and he's earned the right to be. But I mean, when he told me one time when I saw him, Ike, I think it was in Lexington. It was when we had the conversation about how many teams would make it through to the Sweet 16, and he was like 9, and I was like, you crazy. And then he tweeted the whole thing out talking about how 9 made it, and they put the graphic out. I asked him about conference expansion, and he was like, Mike, why we don't need nobody. What do we need them? What do we need them for? Right. So, you're playing in that conference where he's looking at your two best programs and saying, we don't need them.
Yeah, he's fine with what he has. Like, we'll be fine where we are. We don't need to expand anymore to, like, if we do, we do. But, like, they need us way more than we need them.
If FSU and Clemson decide to jump, they're going to fall apart like the Pac did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They'll fall apart like the Pac did.
That's what's holding them up.
They're going in the direction that the Big 12 is, where it's like they're begging people to come over to that conference because they lost their 2 flagship programs to the SEC.
Yeah, the Big 12 is it's a wide open conference.
Yeah.
It is but without Oklahoma and Texas, the average quality of football in that conference, where you have some schools with some money like Texas Tech, they got money down there. Now that's become a money game. They had that billionaire come through and drop like 30 million on their portal class. Programs like UCF are having a hard time keeping up with the money part of it with some of the other schools in the conference. So, you still got some Texas oil money in that conference. Baylor is a private institution. So they don't have to release a lot of their numbers. But yeah, I don't know, man. I get it feels like the closer we get to kickoff, I think next week, Ike, right? They'll be going into week 1 game prep.
Yep.
So we're going to hear more of this until we start playing football. It's just, if your Q freeze, you win game. Beating Baylor would go a long way to shutting people up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the season's not over if they lose to Baylor. But like Ike said, it's going to depend on how they lose, what kind of problems they have. When I look at the matchup on paper, a loss for me is going to be really hard to stomach no matter how it comes. But there could be some signs that your offense is headed the right direction. Jackson Arnold has a good game. I would be disappointed if the defense didn't play up to snuff. If the defense gives up more than 21 in this one, I'm gonna be disappointed. I'm gonna be pretty disappointed. Yeah. Those guys have played lights out at times,
and even that depends, right? Because sometimes the defense's shortcomings was because they were on the field a lot last year. I'm hoping that's not the case this year, Mike. But yeah, if the offense is moving the ball at the rate that we hope that they do, yes, I would be very disappointed if the defense is, because that means you're giving up big plays at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's not because you're getting fatigue. You're just giving, there's blown assignments, there's blown coverages, there's blown stuff on your defense. So
yeah.
Well, like I said, we are very close to getting a lot of those questions answered. We're going to answer a few questions / comments from the chat here, because you all have had plenty to say today. Thank you so much for being one of the most engaging communities out here on the web. A lot of happy birthdays for Mike G. Felix drops one there. Let's see. Super chat here. Travis Latham says, happy birthday, Mike G, and thank you and the rest of the crew for all of the great content you continue to give us. 10 wins on the way. Travis predicted 10 in 2 seasons.
I'm here for it.
Another chat from Travis. No worries here. Boog is on 100. 42 to 17. And miss me with all this Auburn hate. War. Damn Eagle. 42 to 17 is quite an ass whooping.
Yeah, I mean, look, that sounds. I call 38-21, so that's not that far off. That I think Auburn has they have the horses to.
You're putting the world on notice. 42 to 17.
Let's see here. Wesley Hilson says, is it possible the best D he sees, this year is in practice and the run option not part of practice? That makes it even tougher for the O in general, speaking of Jackson Arnold.
Yeah. I think it's a point we made earlier, is that this is a really good defense he's going up in practice if they're going ones versus ones.
The best he sees all season. I mean, I don't know. That's tough. Texas A&M is going to have a good defense. Georgia's going to have a good defense, much as I hate them. And Bama's going to have a good defense, much as I hate them. I don't think the Baylor defense is going to be better than the Auburn defense. So no. I don't think the Arkansas defense will be better than Auburn's defense. I don't think Missouri's will be. I don't think Vanderbilt's will be. So, I mean, there may be 3 defenses that rival and could potentially be better than Auburn's defense. Could be. Now, Auburn could be better than all of them when it's all said and done. I don't know. But it is possible. But these are the types of defenses he needs to be able to get tested against for sure. For sure. See here. Keegan says, if Jackson Arnold doesn't go well, how do y'all feel about Ashton Daniels? I'm afraid he may not even be as good as Peyton Thorne. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm scared. I'm not sure who you're saying will potentially not be better than Peyton Thorne, Ashton Daniels, or Jackson Arnold. I can say from a talent perspective, and this isn't about reading defenses or anything like this. Arm strength, running ability, he's better than Jackson. Jackson Arnold's better than Peyton Thorne. Will he perform better than him? Is he as cerebral level? I don't know yet, right? That's to be seen because I haven't seen him behind a competent offensive line in a collegiate football game. From Ashton Daniels' standpoint, better runner for sure, probably stronger arm, and decision making, no, not. I mean, he threw a lot. Daniels threw a lot of picks, but again, behind a poor offensive line, difficult for me to say. I feel like he is a quality backup, though. Like he's not a guy who, if he had to come into a game, I'd be like, oh my god, we got to deal with this dude for a couple of drives, right? Like, so I feel good about Auburn's quarterback room. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I think the beauty of it this year is you hope that Auburn had someone to go to last year. If Peyton Thorne struggled, and it turns out that when the heat was on, Hugh Freeze really didn't have anyone he can trust. I don't think that's the case this year. I think Ashton Daniels is someone that you can throw in there in an emergency situation, and then you have Deuce Knight, who is clearly the future of Auburn. I think that room is a much better room. And I actually think that Jackson Arnold may actually be a better quarterback than Peyton Thorne. How good or how much better remains to be seen, but I like where this room is going into this season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as much as people have issue or take issue with Peyton Thorne, an NFL franchise gave him a shot, right? And so there's a lot of quarterbacks who won't be in that position. They've seen enough from him to say, okay, maybe he can be someone who can help our quarterback room out. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how many NFL franchises are saying that about Ashton Daniels right now. They're saying to themselves, oh, we can just take a flyer on this guy and bring him into camp. I don't know if there's anybody who's going to be saying that at the end of this season, because he's not going to have a lot of opportunities if it goes well with the starting quarterback. So say what you want to about Peyton Thorne. NFL scouts thought well enough of him to put him on a roster, at least to give him a shot. Now, will he get a chance to be the guy on someone's NFL team? I don't know, but he's still in a position that a lot of quarterbacks never get an opportunity to see, which is an NFL training camp.
Facts.
Let's see here. Forever Bankroll says Georgia Tech trying to beef with us is crazy. Like if this was a battle of engineering schools, I'd be all down. I'd be like, oh, I get it. Who has the better engineering program? Makes sense.
We're the cow college. If you ain't got no beef patties, we don't want to talk to you. You're all out of here with all that engineering.
Maybe that's what he meant, though, Ike. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't think Eric Singleton's major is engineering. So if he's like, man, he would have been better off from Georgia Tech because his degree would have been got him into better situations post-collegiate, then
what a nerdy way to beef with someone. Our engineering school's better than yours.
But my degree is going to be worth more than yours in 2 years.
Yeah, I get it. Education is important. These are still student athletes, so we're not poo-pooing that. If anybody,
listen, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying that that ain't. If we're having a conversation,
I'm trying to figure out.
Receiver, we're not sitting here talking about the value of his degree post.
I am impressed with their academics at Georgia Tech. So yes,
it's amazing. I do. It's one of the best in the country.
I was thinking about sports. But when you take it to the academics, okay, all right.
Have y'all ever tried to park around there?
Around Georgia Tech? Impossible.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah. They have a high failure rate because you just can't even park for class.
Because it's in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
Take the MARTA, take the bus. Do not try to go park over there. No.
Back in 2003, fun fact, when Georgia Tech beat Auburn 17-3, Auburn did not score their first touchdown until the third game of the season versus Vanderbilt. I will never forget this. Because for those of you who knew Tommy Tuberville a little, he was very quiet in practice. Like, he didn't really say a ton. And he said, I remember after we lost to Georgia Tech, their fans legit ripped down the goalpost and tried to throw it over the side of the stadium. I mean, they were that excited about that 17-3 win. But after that loss, Tuberville was fed up, and he gave this speech in practice. I was like, I turned my boss. I was like, I think this is the first time I've heard him talk since like spring. And that loss to Georgia Tech kind of spurred that Auburn team to kind of get off that schneid there. But I mean, this isn't a rivalry, man. Like, I don't. This guy saying all this stuff about Eric Singleton, and just, man, I'm telling you, just he's coping hard, and he wants Auburn to be bad to justify why Eric Singleton made a mistake in leaving. But Eric Singleton is probably gonna have a really good season, regardless of how Auburn's season turns out. Same way Keandre Lambert-Smith did.
Yeah,
I think he's that good. And people outside of Auburn, not sour about him transferring from Georgia Tech, have been saying that as well, too. And this kid's got talent, man. The scouts are all talking about him being a first-round draft pick. I don't know. Yeah, y'all stop trying to make this Georgia Tech Auburn thing happen for sure.
Yeah. Keegan jumps back in, forgot to add in happy birthday, Mr. Mike.
I appreciate that.
All right. Any final thoughts before we let the people go about their Sunday?
Football is almost here, fellas. It is almost time to talk about what they do on the field. That first post-game live stream, Caesar, is going to be wild. It's win or lose. Do you remember the Cal live stream a couple of years ago?
I try to forget about it.
Yeah. It was 2 a.m. when that game got over, and there were 2,000 people on live with us, bitching about how that win felt like a loss.
Yeah.
And so I hope we're not doing the same thing here this year. We won't be up till 2 a.m, but it's gonna be
Unless
it's gonna be like after 11:30
overtimes. No.
Yeah, it's gonna be about after 11:30 probably when the game is over.
We have much better things to talk about. Let's hope.
Let's manifest.
All right. Well,
yes.
Let's get out of here for today. Mike G, take the people out. Tell them how they can support.
You guys already know the deal, man. Sign up as a patron, $5.99 a month. We'll get you there. We appreciate all the memberships and super chats on today's live stream. Appreciate all the birthday wishes, you guys. Thank you so much. Made it another year, so hopefully it'll be a good one here for Auburn football as well, too. I want to thank our title sponsor, Golden's Cast Iron. You see the codes there on the screen. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR and use those codes to get your discount at Golden's Cast Iron today. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code reporter, get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. And if you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, visit our friends at the Vibe Vault, 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. I want to thank our friends at setsforsociety.ai. Get to know yourself with Sets for Society. They have custom personality assessments to let you know more about yourself. Learn how to be a better teammate, coworker, partner with setsforsociety.ai. Visit them to get your custom personality assessment started today. Check us out on podcast, all the podcast platforms. We are there bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. And visit the merch store. The season is coming. Get dressed out in some War Report gear this season, whether it's watching the film or saying he going. We got something for you there in the merch store. Ike designs all this stuff, man. We appreciate you guys for going to our merch store and supporting us there as well, too. You're muted, Ike.
You're muted, Ike.
Am muted, my bad. Make sure you share the content with somebody before you get out of here. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are at the War Report on X and Instagram. TW Report is the TikTok. We'll be back at you guys with more great content this week. A lot of Auburn Express content. I got more PFF. I'm doing my final PFF for the off season on the top 8 players there. Got my reviews with some of the other teams that's going live today. Arkansas will be today going live, already there for the members. Vanderbilt's going to be going live later on this week. And I got some more coming. So you guys make sure that you stay locked in until the next time. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.